Let me give you a statistic that puts this in perspective. The median income in San Jose, California is $85,000 higher than the household income of Mississippi. Hey, welcome back to the Happy Trekkers channel. My name is Mike, and on this channel we tend to look at places where you can go in the rest of the world and live a very comfortable lifestyle based on your average income. I like to call that lifestyle arbitrage, because what you're doing is you're going to a place where their average income typically is lower, if not much lower, than the average income of the US, which gives you more spending power, which allows you to have a more comfortable lifestyle. I think that's a very interesting topic, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it, looking at it, and I just find it very interesting. But today I thought I would take a little twist. I wanted to look at some of the places in the United States where the average US income is below the average residents of that city. So let's take a look at those. These are the top 10 richest cities in the US. Now, one thing to consider before we get started, the average income in the US is around $67,000. That's the average household income in the United States. The average home price in the United States is around $269,000, so $269,000. Again, that's an average. Here in California where I live, you're not going to touch anything for $269,000, but in Florida where I do have a home, that's actually quite average. So it does range, but again, across the country, the average is $269,000. One other factor that I kind of not sure if I wanted to include this, but it is a contributing factor, is the level of education in these locations. So, is that going to cause controversy? Yes. Someone's going to come at me immediately saying, well, I work in XYZ industry and I make a lot of money, well above average, and I don't have a degree. Yes, you do. I am not doubting that. I did not have a degree for a long time, and I made above the average income. So it is absolutely possible to be done. However, statistically, and as a general rule, the higher the education, the higher the income. So I'm going to look at that as well. So those three factors kind of went into my overall thought process, and that is where I came with the list. Again, if you want to come at me in the comments for some of that, please do. I'm welcome to have that conversation with you, but here we go. Number 10 is Boulder, Colorado, a beautiful location. Nestled in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, Boulder was named the best place to live in the most recent ranking of US News. It's great. It's beautiful scenery, open spaces, awesome restaurants. It's close to the mountains, and it has lots of smart people there. The city is the home to the University of Colorado, so it makes sense that 65% of the adults have a bachelor's degree, placing Boulder in the top 10% of all U.S. metro areas. The average income there is $88,000, and the average home price is $592,000. So, pretty good location. And for those of us that are old enough to remember, don't forget that is where Mork and Mindy live. So, Nanu Nanu? Anybody? Anybody? Number 9 is the Santa Cruz, Watsonville area of California. Now, the median household income there is $89,000. So again, now we're at like, what, $22,000 more than the average in the United States. The median home value, though, is $839,000. That's in the top 10 highest of the U.S., but this is California. Every time we mention California, the home prices are generally outrageous. Now, Santa Cruz is a very popular tourist location. About 4 million people a year visit there because of its sandy beaches and the redwood forest. It's a beautiful location. COVID has obviously put that a little bit of a damper on that party, but it's going to bounce back because it is a beautiful area and people love to go to vacation in beautiful areas. The University of California, Santa Cruz is there, and about 44% of the adults have a bachelor's degree or higher. It's in a beautiful place. It's really very pretty, and it is expensive. Even if you are not buying a house, an average rental is going to run you $3,000. So you can make a lot of money there, but it is going to cost you as well. Number 8 is the Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, Ventura area. This is another great California area. It's actually a little less known. I don't know that everybody thinks about Oxnard when they think of California, but that's really kind of a shame because it's kind of a great location. The median household income there is $92,000, and the median home price is kind of surprisingly reasonable for California. It's $629,000. Again, for California, that is not bad because this is really, I would say, not a suburb, but it's just up the road from LA. So anything close to LA is generally going to be outrageous. It's a coastal city, so you're right on the beach. It is one of the better places to go in California, and again, has a very high income. Number 7 is Napa, California. Yes, Napa Valley. We've all heard of Napa Valley. It is one of the most famous wine regions in the world. And in fact, about 80% of all the wines in the United States come out of California. Surprisingly, only about 4% come out of Napa, even though it has the fame. That and Sonoma have all the fame that everyone's heard of, but it is still a beautiful region. It is absolutely pretty. We were there a few years ago. Definitely a place you want to take a visit to. The median household income there is about $92,000. And for California, the home prices aren't bad, $670,000. I know that sounds crazy for a lot of people, but for California, especially for such a beautiful area, that is actually not too bad at all. Now, it's obviously tied to the wine industry. That's where the money is going to be made. There are hundreds of wineries around the region. When the pandemic isn't killing travel, unemployment is actually very low. Vacationers come from far and wide to stay at the hotels. There are spas, there's the riverfront promenade, little quirky shops, farmers markets. It's really kind of a nice place. The housing is a bit challenging, so if you're looking for something, you're going to look for a rental. It's very hard to find. They don't have as many housing opportunities as you might think, but it is a outdoorsy area. It's a very Hallmark sort of place to go, but a place I definitely recommend. And again, at $92,000, a very good residential average income. Number 6 is the Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue area of Washington. Again, this is a hot region. It's been hot for the last many years, in fact, and it's a region that every time I talk to someone who lives in that area, they love it. I've never met anyone that lives in the Pacific Northwest that doesn't love living in the Pacific Northwest. It's really got some sort of attraction there. I've only been there a couple times. It seemed very pretty, but I need to go spend some more time there. Seattle, of course, is home to the biggest corporations in the country: Amazon, Microsoft, Starbucks, T-Mobile. I mean, they're all out there. Of course, all the billionaires that go along with that. The median household income is $94,000. The median home value, though, is only $503,000. So we're kind of getting into that sweet spot where you have high incomes and low housing prices. That is pretty good. The University of Washington is right there in downtown, and over 44% of all the adults have a bachelor's degree or more. So it provides a little bit of everything: higher education, a lot of jobs, and a high income. I need to go back and visit that some more. I really do. Number 5 is the Boston, Cambridge, Newton area of Massachusetts. I've only been to Boston a few times. I liked it, but I was there as a tourist and I really didn't get to spend any sort of quality time amongst the people, as they say. But with a median household income of $94,000 and a home value of $482,000, again, we're heading right into that sweet spot where you've got high incomes and a low housing price, low being relative, of course. Harvard and Boston University crank out thousands of very smart people there. In fact, over half the people in the region have a bachelor's degree, so this attributes to their higher income. Unemployment is actually quite low. It's a thriving economy. It's based on major medical. There's a lot of research there. If you're in the STEM field, there are tons of opportunity, especially with, again, research, healthcare, pharma, and you've got New England surrounding you. It's a very pretty part of the country. It's a very just quick hop, skip, and a jump over to Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Cape Cod. Really quite an amazing place. I need to get back there. Again, I've spent very little time there other than a tourist, but the couple times that I've been there, I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Number 4 is Bridgeport, Stamford, Norwalk area of Connecticut. Now, bit of a controversy here. Parts of that are extremely wealthy. Parts of that have a great deal of poverty. It is really an area that is highly divided between the two. If you're on the have side versus the have not, It's fantastic. Lots of things to do there. The household income on that side of the line is $97,000, and the home values, home prices, I should say, are $445,000. Again, really good combination. Here's an interesting fact. The top 1% in that Bridgeport, Stanford, Norwalk area make 62 times more than the bottom 99%. So again, there's a lot of economic disparity there that attributes to a lot of different problems. But again, if you're on the have side and you're making that $97,000, you have quite a good life there. And it's right there, not too far from New York City, so you can jump over there when you're ready. I don't know much about the Bridgeport, Stanford area. I've never been there as far as I can remember. So what are your thoughts? Have you ever been there? What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you want to go back? Let me know. Number 3 is the Washington-Alexandria, Virginia area, which is obviously the Washington, D.C. metro area. And the average income there is pretty good. It's actually $105,000 with about $445,000 for the average home price. So again, better income, not so bad home prices. As you might expect, well-paying government jobs abound. And aside from all the national memorials and presidential accommodations, the region houses Georgetown University and other top educational institutions. Over half the adults have a bachelor's degree. And the economy is generally stable and low unemployment because so much of the city is tied to the government, and the U.S. government isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So it makes for a not too bad area. Again, I've only been there as a tourist, but I've been there as a tourist many times, from being a little kid all the way up until about 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It is a place you have to go. You may not want to live there, but you definitely need to visit. It is just a wonderful location full of a ton of U.S. history, and the Smithsonian's alone are worth heading for. So I definitely encourage you to check that one out. All right, number 2 is San Francisco. So that's San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. These are all in the same area. Income, again, $114,000, so quite a bit higher. Home prices, though, now we're back into California, about $940,000. So let's just call it $1 million. The problem with that is anybody making less than that is going to have to kind of cram themselves into a pretty small but very expensive apartment someplace. So there is some disparity there. But if you have the means, San Francisco can be a wonderful location. But it's not just the homes. It's expensive about everything you want to do. It's a very expensive place to live. I've been there. We were just there, I don't know, a couple years ago. I need to get back up there. And it is California's economic financial center, I should say. Venture capitalist firms, Fortune 500 companies, tech, tourism, law. I mean, all of it's centered right there in San Francisco. It is definitely a place that you want to check out. With some of the biggest colleges like Stanford and the University of California, Berkeley, over half the adults have a bachelor's degree. So again, San Francisco is number 2 on the list of the top 10 richest cities in the U.S. And the number 1 richest location in the United States is San Jose, California. Yes, California has appeared on the top 10 5 times. You can debate why that is in the comments, but it is there 5 times. And Silicon Valley, which is San Jose, is the richest in the United States. The average income there is around $130,000 household income. Average home price is about $1.1 million. This is not a cheap location. You're going to make a lot, you're going to spend a lot, because it is Silicon Valley. Let me give you a statistic that puts this in perspective. The median income in San Jose, California is $85,000 higher than the household income of Mississippi. That's sort of mind-boggling to me, and every time I think about that statistic, it drives me a little nuts. And the quality of San Jose is really good, but it certainly helps if you have a lot of money. The cost of living, especially with the housing costs, are ridiculous. But if you want to work in high tech, this is the mothership. There are something like 90,000 high tech jobs there. And we're talking about like Cisco, Adobe, PayPal, Samsung, Acer, Zoom. Everybody is in Silicon Valley. So if that's where you want to work, you're going to be rewarded with some pretty high incomes, but you're going to pay a lot of money to live there. So it's a trade-off. Is it worth it? I don't know. You tell me. Hey, I hope you liked that video. Let me know if you've ever lived in one of those cities. What were your thoughts? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you live there very long? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell so that way you're notified every time we drop a new video. So let's talk again, but until then, keep on trekking.